everyone, welcome to the RotoGrinders Morning Grind podcast. I'm your host, Stevietpfl. It's Thursday. It's June 27th. It is 2024. We have a 4-game baseball slate to talk about here on today's podcast. Joined today by my good buddy, TastefulTides. Tim, what's happening, my friend?
Not much, Stevie. I know it's been a couple days, but you had a great weekend with NASCAR. You won the $88, right? Isn't that right?
Yeah, it was a good. Yeah, it was a good weekend for NASCAR.
Yeah, I won about 4x my money, and I had Kyle Busch on my team, so I basically crushed it, except for Kyle. Kyle ruined it for me.
He was one of my highest owned drivers on the slate, and it was brutal to watch. It's not been fun, that's for sure. So, I mean, NASCAR was great. Baseball, the early slate of baseball was good for me. Played a lot of Ortiz. Talked about that on Crunch Time. Just one of those things, like, right? We talk about it all the time when a lineup comes out and you're like, wow, that lineup's really bad, and maybe I should take a shot on the pitcher. And that's exactly what Ortiz was for me on the early slate. The late slate, I have a lot of Red Sox. I pulled a rookie move and did not check weather at all for the late slate. I was busy doing some stuff. So, yeah, I mean, that's how my slate is going. I also was like way underweight on Stone, so I don't think it really matters.
Right.
So, yeah, a lot of Red Sox. I think like my best team that I have going is like a St. Louis stack, and it's not even that good. So the late slate, I'm just writing it off and being done with it. But yeah, so Chat Derek says he has a Minnesota stack with Birdsong and Crawford. But Crawford outscored Heel, so that's always good. You know,
Yep.
There you go. We'll see what Birdsong ends up doing. I was watching a little bit. Looks like he has some pretty good stuff. So, all right, only 4 games. We can joke around and have some fun. Dean, what time does the show actually start? Hey, Dean, just go. See ya.
Dean has never been on time for a show his entire life.
I was just about to say, like, this guy, never ever have I done a Grinders Live with Dean where he was ready before the show was ready to go. So there's like new steps with the website, like with all the website changes and stuff that like I have to like go through. It's like the morning grind is never going to exactly start at 10 o'clock because of the new steps. So, hey, listen, hi, Dean. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, let's talk some baseball.
He's just so happy the Panthers won the Stanley Cup.
Could you imagine if they lost that game? Oh my gosh.
I would have given him so much crap every single show for like the next, I don't know, 12 months easily.
I don't even think I would have I think I would have like legitly felt bad for him. My team being up by 4, up 3-0 and losing 4 straight. That would be brutal. Channing says, I've listened to the podcast for the last 7 years. Appreciate you guys keeping me busy. New dad over here to a baby girl. Congratulations. Enjoy. It says, any tips? Enjoy it because they get big really fast. And just know that you're going to be tired all the time. I'm tired every single day. And it's just the greatest blessing and feeling in the world to be a dad. So there you go. That's my thing. Just enjoy the heck out of it. Because
it goes by so fast.
It does. It's incredible. So that's my tips, but congratulations to you and your family. That's awesome. Let's talk baseball. We have a little tiny slate today. A little 4-gamer, nothing too crazy. We get started with New York and Toronto, 8.5 total in this game. The Yankees a 138 favorite. Carlos Rodon against Jose Barrios. Any interest here in Carlos Rodon?
I think you have to, just because of the rest of the pitching on the slate. So I know he's not the high strikeout guy that he once was. I know Toronto is not a high strikeout team. But I think given the context of the slate, you're going to have to make some uncomfortable choices at SP2. And I think 8,600, I think he's viable when compared to the guys in his price range. So, yeah, I do, even though it's kind of ugly.
Yeah, I mean, you don't necessarily feel good about it, but let's just say what it is. I mean, it's a slate where you're on DraftKings looking for an SP2 because Jack Flaherty is as close to a lock on this slate as I've ever seen. The only reason you might not play Flaherty today is game theory, but we'll talk about him when we get to that game. I just want to say that because you're looking for an SP2. Toronto has not been great against left-handed pitching this season, but they still don't strike out a lot. So
Yep.
There's going to be a lot of balls put into play here against Carlos Rodon, which I hate. I just absolutely hate that idea. Barrios on the other side, Yankees these are two of the lowest strikeout teams in baseball. So to get excited about playing either one of these pitchers, even on a 4-game slate, is tough. Barrios is a below average strikeout pitcher. He's at 17.5% on the season. And he's facing, again, one of the lowest strikeout teams in baseball. They also have a ton of power. I just don't think I can roll the dice with Jose Barrios, especially like looking at like some of his recent stuff. He has been really bad, 12% Ks over the last 30 days with a 345 WOBA.
And he's giving up a 211 ISO to lefties this season. So I mean, I know we think of the righties for the Yankees, but still, like, even some of these lefties are in really good spots. Like you said, Barrios does not strike out anybody. The Yankees aren't really a high strikeout team outside of Stanton and Judge, but they have such good power, and Stanton's hurt, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, I would prefer going Rodon over Barrios like every time. I don't really want to play Barrios outside of like a 150 max situation, get a few shares, but really he would be one of my lower owned pitchers at SP2 on this slate.
Yeah, I have no interest in Barrios. The Yankee stack's one of my favorite stacks on this slate, and this is like a 4-game slate, so I don't know. Like in a 20-incher max type of build, I don't know how much like 5 threes I will get to on this slate. So I mean, I'm not likely gonna get the Barrios, but I love the Yankee stack today. I think that this is a team you want to load up on. Judge, Soto, Stanton just got put on the IL, so we're gonna get some cheaper bats here to mix in with Judge, Soto. Full on stack, like I said, one of my favorite stacks. Again, I don't know how much I'll get to full stacks today, but they're on the top of the board for me today. I absolutely love the Yankees today.
Yeah, I mean, 6,500 for Judge almost feels too cheap in this spot. Like, even though I know that Barris is a righty, doesn't matter. He gives up a lot of hard contact to both sides of the plate. Judge smashes both handed pitchers. So really, 6,500 is too cheap for Judge in this matchup. Soto's fantastic play. I mean, New York is easily like the top stack, I think, on this entire slate. So I am going to try to get to some 5-mans if I can, just because I think they're in such a good spot.
So yeah, chat Stone did just pitch a complete game shutout.
Was it a Maddox? Was it a Maddox?
No, he had 103 pitches, which I'm pretty sure is the season high. So he was pitching fantastic. So
yeah,
sometimes you're wrong. I was wrong. I didn't like Gavin Stone a lot today. You're allowed to be wrong. I mean, it happens. Like if it's gonna happen, I want it to happen on a slate where I know that like on lineup HQ, between main stacks and secondary stacks, I have like 45% Boston. So if it's going to happen on a slate where I'm wrong on a pitcher that's popular, that's 30+% owned, might as well happen on a slate where I lose half of my lineups because of the bats. And that's not even including like the one-offs and stuff, which I know I had some of those too. So yeah, it's going to happen. Great slate for it to happen. Toronto bats, any interest here in the Blue Jays?
Vlad's looked a little bit better as of late. 4,500. Don't love it, but I think he's still a little bit. I think he's a little bit too cheap, to be honest with you. So I have a little interest in like a one-off of Vlad, maybe a one-off of George Springer or something like that, but not a full stack for Toronto.
Yeah, the thing that I really like here is Justin Turner. He continues to be fantastic against left-handed pitching. Throughout his career, he's been really good against left-handed pitching. Even in the struggles, a lot of this offense, like he's been great against lefties. Vlad hasn't hit lefties for a ton of power, but he's been really solid against lefties this year. But really like Justin Turner. And then I would assume that Davis Schneider is in the lineup today and potentially hitting leadoff at 4,200. So I'm interested in him as well. So I could see myself getting to like a 3-man. Again, I think there's going to be a lot of contact made here for Toronto. So I could see myself like a little 3-man stack for Toronto here. All right, we got Cincinnati at St. Louis, 8 total in this game. St. Louis a 130 favorite. We got Andrew Abbott against Miles Mikolas. Any interest here in Andrew Abbott?
He seems very, very similar to Rodon at a little bit cheaper of a price tag. So I feel like this is a very, very similar. Like you could probably split your exposures amongst Abbott and Rodon in this price range because it's pretty close. Abbott's a 20% K rate guy, relatively low walk rate guy. Also, I don't think he's got like a huge ceiling in this spot, but nobody really at SB2 does. And I think he's in a pretty decent spot to at least get you like, I don't know, 15 to 16 points.
Yeah, I think he's fine today. I think that when you're looking at the matchup here for him, St. Louis has been a lot better against left-handed pitching or right-handed pitching after starting the season very cold. They still continue to struggle with left-handed pitching. So I think that even if we look at recent stuff, Arenado's been hitting better. Goldschmidt's been hitting better. Wynn has some upside, but he also strikes out at the highest clip, I think, outside of Gorman. So, I mean, yeah, marathon of baseball on Wednesday plays a little factor as well for St. Louis. They had 2 games, long day,
right?
Rain delays, so I could see myself getting some exposure to Abbott, and I could see myself playing Miles Mikolas today. And you, chat, everyone knows that I am not a Miles Mikolas guy, at all. I do not think he's great, but the Reds lineup is banged up right now. And if the lineup is anything close to what it was on Wednesday, you have to have a little interest in Mikolas. Candelario should be back in the lineup in this one. Fraley got scratched. So, even if it's just Candelario and, Ellie De La Cruz, Jonathan India is scorching right now. But I mean, you're really just kind of pitching around the top 3 guys. Steer has been struggling. Stevenson has been struggling. Benson's been struggling. Fairchild has been awful recently. So, as much as I don't like Miles Mikolas in general, I think it's a day where, if the lineup comes out and it's bad, Mikolas can get you 15. I mean, I think that's a good expectation for an SP2 on a 4-game slate today.
I really have no issue with Mikolas at all, and I never roster him ever. But you're absolutely right. The bottom 5 to 6 guys on this Reds lineup are atrocious. And Nick Martini, he's got nothing. Soto, obviously quite young. I mean, Fairchild's not been good at all. So I mean, Mikolas is not going to strike out a lot of guys, but he does a good job of limiting hard contact. So I'm really not worried about anyone other than Ellie, maybe.
Let's talk about the bats in this one. Chat saying Mets are beating up on the Yankees. See, another thing that I didn't play any Mets today, but I don't care because my lineups are dead, so it doesn't matter to me. I'm already on to Thursday's slate. Let's talk Cincinnati bats. Obviously, you got Ellie De La Cruz. Candelario should be back in the lineup. India's hot. I think those are the 3 guys you're targeting in this matchup. And Miles Mikolas is a guy you can run on. So, Ellie De La Cruz has to be in lineups today. He has to be in lineups today.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's going to run all over Mikolas if he gets on. 6,100 as a completely reasonable price tag for him in this matchup. So I mean, I know India's hot. That's fine. I'm really not looking to get to anyone other than Ellie, as like just a one-off.
St. Louis side, any interest in the Cardinals here?
Not really. I mean, Arenado is cheap enough, I guess, at 3,800. I don't know. Goldsman, I guess, is fine, but nobody on this Cardinals team really thrills me that much. So unless it's like I don't know, like 100 degrees and like weather edge is really like popping off on this game, I don't have a ton of interest in St. Louis. I'm much more interested in Abbott.
Yeah, I mean, Mason Wynn, a guy that is much better against lefties, should hit leadoff here. I don't mind him in this spot. Contreras is back. Contreras is an excellent hitting catcher that has a lot of upside. So if you want to take some shots on Wilson Contreras, assuming that he's in the lineup hitting third or fourth here today, Goldschmidt's been better, but he's still not like a ton of power. So it'd be like Wynn, Contreras, Arenado for me. But yeah, I think Mason Wynn would probably be my favorite here today. Cleveland at Kansas City, 8.5 total pick'em game. Ben Lively, Michael Wacha facing off against each other. Any interest here in Ben Lively?
Not. I like the other 8K pitchers a lot more that we've already mentioned. Like I like Abbott more. I like Rodon more. I like Miklos more. I guess I like Lively maybe a little bit more than Barrios, but that's about it. A journeyman pitcher. He's had some good games this year. I just don't think that going up against KC is going to be one of them on the slate. So I would be out on Lively, or at least be significantly underweight his projected ownership on the slate.
Yeah, I mean, on the season, he's a 21% K rate guy. Over the last month, he's at 16%. He's really been struggling, but he's done a great job limiting power to lefties throughout the year. So Kansas City, their power bats. I mean, Perez and Witt right side, but everybody else is going to be left-handed. I could see Lively like limiting the damage and scoring 15. So like he'll be in my pool in like a 20-inch max build today. Other side of this game, Michael Wacha. I mean, Michael Wacha is a guy that we've used a bunch this year. I just hate the matchup. I mean, Cleveland's a very low strikeout team. So it's really tough to get some exposure to Cleveland. I mean, could you potentially take Michael Wacha? I mean, he's 7K. He could throw 5 to 7 innings and score 15. So, like, he's like a fringy play for me. I just hate the matchup against Guardians because they're such a low strikeout team.
Yeah, and it seems like he was hurt there for a little bit. He came back on the 22nd and only threw 74 pitches, and it seemed like he was doing decent. Mm-hmm. So very, very low ceiling, I think, for Wacha. So I think he falls, actually, of all the pitchers that we mentioned, I think he falls last place for me, even behind Barrios.
Yeah, I'd play him over Barrios, but I mean, if we take the progression,
it's close, right? It's close though, right?
It's not that close for me.
No, really? No.
All right. I'm not playing Barrios today. Like if Barrios goes out and he scores 20, I'm just like, all right, I'm allowed to be wrong. I'm okay with admitting when I'm wrong, but I'm not playing Barrios. He's definitely one of the stands I'm going to take on the slate. What I was going to say about Wacha is if we take the like normal 15 pitch progression, he's at like 89, 90 pitches, which is, enough to get him through 5 to 7 innings. So he's not a guy that typically throws 100 pitches anyway. So, I mean, I think you could get 85 plus pitches out of Wacha today and feel pretty good about it at 7K. The matchup stinks. I mean, the bottom half of the Cleveland lineup has been a lot worse recently, depending on like who's in there and who's not in there. So it could be a lineup thing where he benefits from the bottom half of the lineup. Let's talk bats here for Cleveland. Obviously, Jose Ramirez is a small slate. You can lock and load that guy. Steven Kwan, he's so expensive. I mean, he's just such a good producer. There's so many ways that he can get it done, stealing bases. He just doesn't strike out. He puts the ball in play. So like he's legitly hitting 385. Like it's not in an inflated number or anything. Like he's legitly hitting 385. What are your thoughts here on the Guardians?
Yeah, obviously J-Ram is one of my favorite plays in this game and really on the slate. He's a fantastic option at 6K. I think my next favorite player would probably be Josh Naylor, just for the home run upside. Kwon is fantastic, but he just doesn't have quite the power. So more power than he had last year, I'll say, but still no power. So I don't want to pay 5,500 for Kwon, really. I'd rather play Naylor. I think if Will Brennan cracks the lineup, he's a decent option at 3,500. But really, probably a 3-man for the Guardians for me, not a full 5-man.
Did you know that Steven Kwan has the second highest WOBA in baseball behind Aaron Judge and the second highest expected batting average behind Ohtani? Like that's the type of year like he's having. He just doesn't have the power like those guys have. Right. But I mean, when you're talking about getting on base, his WOBA is phenomenal. So, do you know who has the highest X WOBA in baseball this year?
I do not.
He just hit a home run, Aaron Judge.
Really?
Kansas, yeah. Aaron Judge has the highest X WOBA.
I might actually cash tonight.
Yeah, and he just hit a home run.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk Kansas City bats. Man, like Lively's hittable. Even though like we have like a slight interest in Lively, it's just because it's a 4-game slate and we just really don't have a ton of pitching options. What are we doing here? Man, I was just looking at some of my Minnesota stacks and they're like all surrounded by Red Sox, and it's just like, all right, I'm just not going to win money tonight. What are we doing with the Kansas City bets?
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine that Witt's going to go lower only he should on a 4-game slate because of Ellie De La Cruz. I think is going to be more popular. So I think he's an interesting tournament play. Sal Perez, you're right though that he does a good job against lefty power. So no Vinny P for me. I just stick with the Perez and Witt, and then maybe Renfroe or Melendez for cheap. I think that some of these pieces for Kansas City are affordable enough where you can definitely stack them. But I don't know. I would just look for some like one-off righty power for KC.
Yeah, Salvador Perez, Bobby Witt, like it's so crazy, and I know we talk about it all the time, but like how much the shortstop position has progressed, and like how a lot of the ceiling has gone from like first base to shortstop, and it's like I would feel so comfortable like having 60 to 80% of my like 20-inch max build today having one of Witt or De La Cruz. Like, you know, those guys are just they're that good that I feel like, you know, you're gonna, like I said, you're gonna get a little bit of like win against Abbott. But yeah, I mean, I think you're prioritizing Witt and De La Cruz as much as you possibly can on this slate. I like Salvador Perez. I don't mind Garcia. I mean, like a guy like Hunter Renfroe always has pop. So like if you want to take some shots on Hunter Renfroe, again, like Ben Lively struggles with right-handed power bats. So like a guy like Renfroe, maybe. We finish out with Detroit at LA taking on the Angels. 8.5 total in this game. Detroit a 166 favorite. We got Jack Flaherty against Davis Daniel making, I don't know if it's his major league debut. I'll have to look it up.
It's his season.
I know he's not pitched yet this year. So
yeah, he's not pitched this year.
Well, let's start with Flaherty. I mean, you and I were talking about a pre-show. It's just not a spot that I'm going to overthink. Like, if I build a 20-inch max build, I'm locking him. If I build 150 teams today, I'm locking him. Like, he's just that guy today where it's like, I'm not going to overthink that he's going to be 70 to 80% owned on the slate, and I'm still going to try to get above that.
Yeah, I mean, I've never built 150 teams on a slate, but I would totally have him in 150 out of 150. No question. On the slate, no question about it. Doesn't matter what I'm in. He's a lock button.
Yeah, there's just, like, if you play 150 and you lock him in, you could build, like, they have, like, $25 single entry tournaments and stuff. build one hedge team, like one LA stack. Like I'm going to build one stack where it's like, if this doesn't work out, the stack is going to, beat me. It's just Flaherty is by far not even in the same atmosphere as these guys today, the best pitcher on the slate. So,
yep, he's been amazing this year. I mean, he should be well over 10,000. He should be like 10-8 on the slate.
On this slate, he should be like 14K. Like that is where I would like have to start thinking about playing him.
Right.
I'm semi joking. Are we doing? We're not doing the Davis Daniel thing, right? Like everything I've read about this guy in AAA this year, he's been awful. I mean, I know it's Detroit. He's 5,500. I guess like before I just like instantly write him off, he is 5,500. Yeah.
Very small sample last season. 52 plate appearances, 17% K rate, 17% walk rate. So control might be a thing. But yeah, very, very small sample last season.
Yeah. I mean, he has 82 strikeouts in 76 innings and 14 starts. He appears to be stretched out. He came out of the bullpen last year, so like he wasn't a starter last year in the majors. So I don't know. Again, I have to look it up. Fangraphs is not working for me right now, but I'm pretty sure this is his first ever career start. I could be wrong. It happens.
Yeah, I mean, I think on this slate you can't just write him off if you think that he's stretched out. Which I think he is.
Oh, I mean, he started all year in
right,
AAA,
right.
So,
so I mean, he should be fully stretched out. So like, I don't think you can completely write him off against Detroit.
No, I mean, I it's my bad for like instantly writing him off because he has struggled so much. But he's 5,500. If he gets like 10 to 12 points, like it probably doesn't kill you. Gerg is like he's a little overpriced at 5,500. I don't disagree, but I mean he's $1,500 cheaper than the next pitcher on the slate. Like 1,500 potentially gets you one or two more big bats in a lineup. So I don't think it's crazy. And people hate playing pitchers against pitchers, and Flaherty is going to be 70% owned. So yeah, I mean overall, I think you could potentially play him. I do, however, have some interest in the Detroit bats. I don't think this is a spot where like fading Detroit bats. I really like Verling. I like Green a lot. I think you could play Perez. And I mean, I haven't seen an update, but I know Kerry Carpenter is getting close. Baду at 2,900 is fine. Keith should hit at the top of the order. He doesn't have a ton of power, but he's really cheap. I don't know if we'll need the value though. What are your thoughts here on Detroit?
Yeah, really no issue at all getting to Detroit. Like you said, this could be Daniel's very first major league start. Detroit has very, very affordable pieces and some strong power guys like Green, like Verling. So I really don't mind Detroit at all.
LA bats, the game theory play of the day. I mean, like that's all it is. They're in a terrible spot. They should not win this game. They should not hit Flaherty. If he's off his game, he is the massive chalk. And you could easily win a tournament if LA scores like 8 runs in this game because nobody's playing them. And you shouldn't. It's not the right play. But if you're just going to take hey, it's a 4-game game theory like plant, and like I'm going to plant my flag on game theory today. I'm going to play one single entry team, and I don't want to play Flaherty, and I stack the Angels. Like if they do anything, sure, right? Like that's where you win.
What about if you're like in a 20 max? Would you play any Angels one-offs just to like be different? Nope.
Nope.
Full stack or nothing?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's not anybody that. Who are you excited to one-off? Like I'm not even excited to stack them. Yeah,
nobody. I mean, maybe if I really needed some value, I'd go Willie Calhoun or something like that. But that would be about it.
He's really good at hitting the ball on the ground.
That is true.
Yeah, I mean, like That's why we like this spot so much for Flaherty today, because like the lineup is just awful for the Angels right now.
It's so bad.
Mickey Moniak would probably be my favorite one off if I had to pick one. He's really cheap, and I still believe that this kid has a lot of talent. So that's who I would probably say is my favorite one off. Sorry, I have like cotton mouth. Like my throat has like it just I like it. My wife brought me water and I finally took another drink, but I was talking too long without drinking water. So, all right, we're gonna play the morning grind game. It's ugly, but we're gonna do it anyway because it's fun.
This slate is so ugly.
There's like a few options each way. You have to go under 8K to get 6 strikeouts. I don't think any of these guys get there, but who would you take?
Wow. I'd go. Can I go Abbott, or does that have to be under 8K?
No, it has to be under.
All right, I'll go Miklos then. He's not going to get there though.
I'll go Daniel, because at least he showed a little bit of strikeout upside in the minors. I still don't like him a lot, but I mean, I've talked myself into playing a little bit of him in like a 20-inch max build. Over 8K to score under 15. Who is your bust today?
Lively.
Yeah. I mean, I'll go Carlos Rodon.
Yeah, it's one of those two, I think.
Over 4K to hit a home run. Who is going yard today?
Ellie.
Oh, I like that. I mean, I wrote down Justin Turner because I thought he'd be over 4K. He's not, so I'm looking really quick. Again, I don't ever look at pricing before the show. Well, that messes me up a little bit, Tim. Oh, give me Josh Naylor to hit a home run today.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
20 home runs on the season. I was shocked when I saw that the other day. Under 4K to get 2 hits. Who's a cheap bet that you like today?
I'll go Hunter Renfroe.
Oh, I like it. I think Jonathan India stays hot. He has multiple hits in 5 straight games now. Jonathan India stays hot against Miles Mikolas. Stack to score 6 or more runs.
I will go with Detroit.
Okay. I'm going to go Yankees against Barrios. There are no props out. I looked, and I just looked again a minute ago. There's nothing out yet. Is there any other bets that you like on the slate?
Let me check out one thing real quick. I like so the Reds are dogs right now. So I kind of like the Reds at plus money. They're plus 110 right now.
Okay. Reds, yeah. I mean, I don't hate that against Miles Mikolas. I'm going to go over 4.5 runs for the Yankees today. You can get this at plus money over on Bet Rivers if you have access to Bet Rivers. But yeah, I'm very, very interested in the Yankees, and I like the Twins a lot. They just got over their run total from yesterday, which is great. They just scored their 5th run. So hopefully we could keep it going, Twins helping us out, getting us over that 4.5 right as he typed it. Yeah, Larnick hit the double. But yeah, appreciate you coming on, Tim. That's going to wrap it up here for Thursday. Back Friday, Mr. Chief Justice. We'll do a morning grind game for the winner of the morning grind game from Tuesday. I replied to you on the YouTube comments just in case you don't see it. Shoot me a DM on Twitter or on Discord, and we'll get you that RotoGrinders swag. We'll do like a 3-day premium pass for free on the morning grind game for Friday. So I'll post a link in YouTube comments and in chat while we're going live. So come hang out Friday. Hope everyone has a great Thursday, and we'll see you again tomorrow.